Okay, we're good. Okay, so hey and welcome everyone. Thank you so much for being on live, being on these millennial calls. I love doing them and everyone's so nice about it. And I love doing it and training you all. And the people who show up on these calls go up. So if you're new, don't worry too much about not understanding some things. Because it's a process, and remember, in Arbonne we learn as we earn. So if you're really new, and I know we've got a couple of new people on, please just bear in mind that you don't need to know absolutely everything to do this, to start, to get going. So don't be overwhelmed. Just grab your notebooks and pens. What I'm basically going to be training on today is learning and following the system. We have a system in Arbonne, and we learn it and we follow it, and that is all we do, and we learn as we go as well. So like I said, there's quite a lot to go through, but I'm going to have a visual for you all, and you've probably all seen it. And for a lot of you who have been doing Arbonne for a while, you know this system, it's going over it, and that is how we really nail it and be successful. So learning the system then, a really important book that most of you would have all heard of, GoPro by Eric Worre. He basically goes through the whole system in that book, chapter by chapter. You need to get your hands on that book, guys. There is a PDF, but if you're like me, if you like to actually read a book, super cheap on Amazon. So grab that book, Eric Worre, GoPro. So when you start any business, what is the main thing that you need, aside from an investment, some time to set it up, and lots of other things? You need a business plan. And if you're serious about creating a successful business, you don't want to invest time and money and then just wing it. It's just, no one does that. If they really are serious and want it to work, you don't just wing it and hope for the best. And this is exactly the same. You need to have a business plan, and we're here to help you, if you're new, to see how that works. But it's just following a system. So for an example, Starbucks, if you wanted to start your own Starbucks franchise, say you were liaising with the Starbucks guy, and you wanted to open up your own store, you'd follow every single step of that business, of what's already been successful before. You would show that, and what has already worked when you'd open your new branch. And you'd absolutely follow it to a T as well, because it's already been successful. It might be a new location, there might be a couple of new or different things that would be in that cafe, but you would follow what's already worked. So another example, baking a cake. My boyfriend's currently baking some brownies, smells very nice. But so baking a cake, if you want the cake to look, when you see the pictures on Instagram or Pinterest and you're like, oh my God, I want to bake that cake. If you want it to look exactly like the pictures, you need to follow the recipe to a T. And this is very much the same in Arbonne. We have a very simple, learnable, proven system for success, and you don't have to reinvent the wheel. You don't have to spend all that time thinking, right, how am I going to go about this? The best thing that you can do is just follow what thousands of VPs, so vice presidents, top income earners, have already done. They've gone first, they've been vulnerable, they've found what works, they've also found what doesn't work, and we just learn exactly the same. All you have to do is follow in their footsteps, follow in the footsteps of MVPs. And MVPs are literally just district managers who have done it for a longer time and done it more times than district managers. So if you get to district manager, you can be a national vice president just by keeping on following that system. So if you wanted to learn the new the very popular TikTok for Drake's new Tootsie Slide, I think it's called. I think I've got that right. I'm obsessed with that song. You would watch someone else who has already learned what to do in that TikTok, and you would follow their lead. And watch this space, by the way, because I am learning that. I'm obsessed with that song. But I haven't got TikTok yet. I need to. So when you start your Arbonne business, you sign up, you order your products, and you become an Arbonne independent consultant, and everyone else starts off in that place as well. The products, the compensation plan, and the system is exactly the same for everyone. The only variable is the independent consultant. It does make me laugh when I hear people say that Arbonne doesn't work. You know, there are some people who say, oh, I did Arbonne, I did it for 6 months, it didn't work for me. They either didn't follow the system, or they didn't do it long enough. 6 months is not long enough to say that this didn't work for them. And like I said, everything's the same for everyone. Everyone starts off in the same place. We've all got the same products, the same compensation plan, the same system. You just have to follow that. No one stands out. Everyone is in the same place when they start. And you cannot fail at Arbonne. The only way you can fail is by quitting and giving up on following that system. So what actually is the system? If you've been doing Arbonne for a long time, you'll know that literally all we do is we switch our brand to Arbonne, switch out the products we're already using to Arbonne, and we share that concept with other people. It's really not rocket science, and I think so often we do overcomplicate what we do. It's not easy, but it's very, very simple. And of course, there's lots and lots of fluff all around that, like how we find people to share the concept, how we speak to people successfully. And that's what I'm basically going to go through with you today. So I'll just share this screen then. Hopefully this works. For some reason, it wouldn't let me download it. So I've just got it there. Hope you can all see that. And so firstly, just have a look at this screen. So hopefully you can all see it. It should be big enough. So have a little look at this screen then, and look at some of the wording. So I'm going to go through it all, and I'm going to share lots of tips. But firstly, I want everyone to have a good look at the things that you see on the screen. And I want you to think of your thoughts and your feelings and your emotions that spring to mind when you have a look at some of those things. So talking to people, doing one-to-one. So we've got, talking to people about Arbonne, doing a one-to-one, inviting people to hear about the opportunity. If you could put them in the chat, that would be absolutely amazing. So if you guys could put some stuff in the chat about your thoughts and feelings, what you feel when you think of these things. So inviting people to hear about Arbonne who are on your chicken list. So that's people you're a bit scared to reach out to. You really think they'd be great at this, but maybe they're your ex-boss or your ex-boyfriend's mum, something like that. Going live on Instagram or Facebook to do a Discover Arbonne. Someone saying no to you to joining your team. So do you know what? I can't even, I can't actually see the chat. So what I'm thinking is that, this is so funny. Basically, what I'm trying to get at is that I think most people would think, oh, bit nervous, bit scared. Oh God, no, it's really getting out of my comfort zone. That's just a really scary thought, having to do a one-to-one. Oh my God, going live on Instagram. Oh my God, no. So those are just a few things that when I was at the Sydney training, we were doing this. And those are kind of the most things that people were saying. I can't actually see the chat, so sorry guys. But now I want you to think of some of these things. So working for someone else for the rest of time, only being able to enjoy your life on the weekends forever, being paid what someone else tells you that you're worth, living paycheck to paycheck, never being able to visit that country that you've got on your bucket list. So how does that now feel? I'm just gonna stop sharing for a second. So how does that now feel? To think about those things. They are much bigger pain points. So I'm just going to mute. If you just jumped on, could you mute please? Those are much bigger pain points when you think about those things. So there are a few things in the system that we do that are a bit scary. They are getting out of your comfort zone. But it's so important to do those if you don't want to have to live through the second list of pain points that I've just read out. So sorry, I'm going to just screen share with you again. Okay. So I hope that was powerful and basically made you realize that those small fears are worth doing. So these things are worth doing to never have to live through those second pain points that I mentioned. And I hope you're basically now ready to get on and follow the system for success. So here we go. And we are literally talking about 5 steps here. 5 steps, people. Of course, it takes time to do all of these things, and you can't learn them overnight. You have to learn them as you go, but 5 steps. So, number 1, so inviting people. Yeah, you can see that. So inviting people and prospecting. So this is inviting people that you know and people who you will meet to hear about Arbonne. And you always want to focus on your warm network first. I can't stress that enough. People who are, a bit undercover and really scared to go off and talk to people in their network already, and they just go off and send loads of messages out on Instagram. You want to focus on your warm network first. You need to build that first. It's really important. So, and then people that you do know. So I use an analogy, and I did this on one of my recent training. Sorry, not an analogy, an acronym, and it's FRANK. So it's friends, relatives, acquaintances, which is kind of like work colleagues, neighbors, and kids. People that you know through kids, so mums, teachers, childminders, those kind of people. We can't share Arbonne with kids, they have to be over 18. And you've got your 100-person list. So when you first join, we always tell you to write down a list of 100 names of people who you would love to share the business and the products with. And always keep adding to that list as well. But basically, you can reach out to anyone in Arbonne about Arbonne who has skin and hair. We don't want to judge anyone because we never know who this business is going to be, a fit for. We never know. And we also live, so this is kind of moving on to warm network. We live in the digital age. Right now, everyone's at home. They're on social media a lot. You can connect with people in seconds and they can become part of your business. Just like some of my recent independent consultants who have joined my team have come from Instagram, just from connecting with people on there. You've also got Facebook groups are brilliant, connecting with people on a level of having something in common. So I'm vegan, I'm in lots of vegan groups, I'm in travel groups, I'm in lots and lots of random things. So if you've got a hobby, say football or horse riding, join those groups on Facebook, connect with people, add people, start chatting to people, find their pain points. And then you can go in and mention Arbonne. So LinkedIn is another good one. If you've got a corporate background, you work in banking or anything like that, LinkedIn's really good. I don't personally really use LinkedIn, but for example, Donna has amazing success on LinkedIn. And I have actually done another training on how to reach out to people. So you can check that out as well. I even have a YouTube channel now. Check me out. So just don't make it a big deal, I think, is another thing. Really just don't make it a big deal. We're here to literally just say, I've got an opportunity. I really would love to share it with you. Would you take a look? And another thing I like an analogy coming on from that is people often are a bit scared to reach out to people, but we're literally just there to offer what we have and then move on. If someone says, no, I don't want to take a look, no problem, move on. And I heard this not that long ago, and it's just so true. So as independent consultants, we are the waitress in a restaurant with the dessert menu. They're going round and they're saying to families, would you like to see the dessert menu? And some people go, oh, no, we're really full. Actually, no, we don't want dessert. No problem. What do they go and do? They just move on to the next table and ask them if they wanted to see the dessert menus. And then they say, oh, no, we're fine. And then they move on to the next table and there's a table that goes, oh, yeah, we want to see the dessert menus. Brilliant, here you go. That is literally all we do. I love that. So again, so just not making it a big deal. Donna Evans has a really good YouTube clip on how to invite people. I think it's literally 7 minutes long, and I always send that to my newbies as well when they're inviting people. It's a really good one to watch. But it's just also about being excited, being confident. Don't want to say, oh, would you please take a look at my business? I really, really want to share it with you. I don't know if it'll be for you. Can you just listen? Just be really excited, really confident, even if you're so nervous. Be confident and be excited. So that's the first bit. Be excited. Then suggest that you think it could be a fit for them too. This bit's really important. You need to say why. You need to make it about that person. You want to say why you really would love to have them in your business, or why you think they'd be amazing at Arbonne. You need to add in a compliment. So it could be that they're looking for another income that you know of, or they're always so busy and hectic, or they're really successful in what they do already. Those are really great things that you can say. Then you want to invite them to something. So you want to say, I'm doing an Instagram live, or I'd love to, meet up with you for coffee, or I'd love to invite you to the National Vice President Discover Arbonne. You want to say what time it is, and you want to say even two things as well, and then you want to say which one can you make. That's if you're kind of first starting. You want to suggest two things, two times, and you want to say which one can you make. You don't want to say, let me know which one you can make. You want to ask them so they actually tell you, and then they'll think, oh, I'm definitely free that time, but I'm not free that time. So they'll say that time. So that's inviting. Presenting. So you've invited someone to hear about the opportunity. They've said yes. We always lead with the business. We always lead with the business and then default to the products. That's really important, because if someone says, if you talk to someone about the products, like, oh my God, you're going to love these products, they're amazing, you've got to try them. And they're like, oh no, that's not really for me. And then you turn around and you say, oh, well, you could do the business. And they're like, what's the business? And you're like, oh, well, it's using the products and sharing, it's not going to work. Always talk about the business and then default to the products. If someone says, oh, the business is not for me, you say, brilliant, would you be interested in trying the products? That's really important. The way to learn how to share this opportunity, I can't stress this enough, the way I learned to do it was just watching Discover Arbonne's over and over and over again. There are hundreds on YouTube. You just type in Discover Arbonne and you can find loads. You can also invite people to events. So for anyone who kind of isn't aware, we have local Discover Arbonnes as well. So they're usually, at the moment, whilst everyone's on lockdown, they are online. But we usually have them all around the country, in every country that Arbonne's in, for people to go to and to take guests to as well. And they are an amazing, opportunity to do that. And that's going to help you to learn as well. But the best way to learn is to do it as well. To just get on and do it with your sponsor when you're new. Absolutely, you need your sponsor on there, and then you can just be taking loads of notes, and then eventually you can do little bits of the presentation, and before you know it, you're doing the whole thing. You also need to learn the presentation slides. They're brilliant. They're on Nation Collaboration and Units. Presentation slides, always learn those first, and then if you're using a 2-page document, or if you're just out for coffee, you'll be more confident. You'll know what to say, because in the slides you say everything. And I have also done a YouTube clip on how to nail a one-to-one. That was one of my recent trainings. You want to aim to share Arbonne at least 30 times a month. That sounds like a lot, but if you invite 5 people every week to the MVP Discover Arbonnes that are on every Tuesday night at 8:30 p.m, you only have 10 left to do yourself. So make use of those as well. Make use of doing Discover Arbonnes at the weekend, where you invite loads of people onto them. So that's presenting. So 3, follow up. So you've shared the opportunity with someone. It's brilliant. They know the information. You never leave it there. You never just say, okay, thank you so much for your time. Let me know if you want to do Arbonne. You never do that. we hear this all the time, but the fortune is in the follow-up. Get it tattooed. Just get it tattooed. People rarely will just say, oh yeah, brilliant, I'm in. About 1, 2, maybe 3% of people will hear the opportunity and they will be like, oh my god, they see the power of it and they want in and they just sign up straight away. But it doesn't always happen like that. In fact, it rarely happens like that. So most people need a few exposures until they say yes to doing this. I know for me that was definitely the case. And you want to book in a follow-up, what we call a follow-up. It's just like a 15-20 minute chat prior to the end of jumping off the Discover Arbonne, or if you've taken them to an event, you want to say, can we follow up in the next couple of days? You want to make sure you've done that before you've left them. So typically, say you've invited someone onto a Zoom call, you've shared the opportunity with them. At the end, you'd ask them a few questions, what resonated with them during the presentation. Was it the product? Was it the business? Talk a little bit about them, gauge where they're at. And then you want to book in that follow-up within the next 48 hours of speaking to them. And then that follow-up is to potentially and hopefully sign them up as a PC or to help them start the business. It doesn't always work like that. Don't be upset if that doesn't happen, because it doesn't always work like that. Really important for at least the first few months to have your upline on the follow-up call. It's fine if you want to do Discover Arbonne for yourself. Definitely not immediately, but after a while, they're pretty simple to learn. But you always want your upline on the call just to give that validation. And the best training for follow-ups that I personally found is the Ian Pritchard follow-up training, which is on SoundCloud. You can just type in SoundCloud Ian Pritchard follow-up. And then after that, it's not just, leaving it there. If they still haven't come to a decision of whether they want to do the business or become a customer, maybe they need a bit more information, maybe they want to hear a product event, you always then book in another follow-up and another follow-up. You want to aim to close that. So if you think of this whole thing as having people fall in your funnel, you're trying to get them out of that funnel. You don't want lots of people stuck in that funnel. Okay, and then so sponsoring people and starting them strong is next. So if it all goes well, you've followed that system, you can now sponsor that person. I obviously appreciate Arbonne's not for everyone, but that is kind of the aim, and get them set up on the system with their own products, their own ID, their own website. And don't take it to heart when this doesn't happen, because we're literally here to follow that system. It's very important to become detached from the outcome. Again, it's just that funnel. You just want to get people through that funnel, hand them the dessert menus. If they say no, move on. That is it. Thank you, next. I love that. I always say that to my team when someone gets a no. I'm like, thank you, next. So I didn't actually sponsor someone. I get this all the time where people say, oh my God, I've been doing this for a week now. No one's shown any interest. I'm really struggling to get ICs. So I started my business last year in March. I didn't have someone join my team until July. It takes time, it takes practice, and sometimes it does take a bit of work on yourself as well. I personally didn't really believe that I could be a leader, so I think it was that for me. But it is just practice, it's everything. There's lots of different elements, as you can see in the middle as well. It's about consistency, time, self-development, action, belief. You've got to have belief. There are lots of elements to it, but this is just the basic system that we follow, the practicality kind of side of it. And then lastly, it's just duplicating that. So what I've just gone through, we just duplicate that. It's just like you can see, it goes around in a circle. So just to reiterate what we have gone through. So you invite someone to hear about the opportunity, you present the opportunity, you then follow up with them within 48 hours, and then you potentially sponsor them. and you just do that on repeat. You teach other people how to do exactly the same, and duplication is key, because if you, like I said in the beginning, if you go and try to reinvent the wheel, it's going to take ages. That's not necessarily going to be duplicable, to have to teach people what you're doing, you know, over and over again when there's already a system in place. It just makes no sense. And it will just be so difficult to teach. So it's worth it to just follow the system. Can't stress that enough. And basically, the more times you do this circle with the more people, is the quicker that you'll learn and the quicker that you'll become successful as well. So plug in, accept that whatever you currently do. So maybe if you're already successful in your career and things like that, and sometimes we think, oh my God, I'm just going to be amazing at Arbonne. Like I'm a teacher, or I'm in sales or something like that. Everyone starts from scratch in network marketing. Most people have never done network marketing before, and it's different to anything else. It's not the norm. So you must learn from scratch, and you must get to work, and that's what's going to reap you the benefits. So I think that is everything. Just going to stop recording. Thank you, everyone.